Good morning. So today I wanted to do a little video just to give an insight into my journey as an artist so far. Something that is really important to me and something that I really value is sharing my experience, mainly because there are so many things that I have now learned that I wish somebody had told me when I first started out. So that's why I want to share a little bit about my experiences and what I've learned on the way to on the way to becoming a full-time artist, which is my end goal. So to give you a bit of background, at the moment I specialize in color pencil, wildlife and pet portraits. And when I was really young, I would sit for hours and hours and just draw. It was always horses for some reason. I don't really know why, but it was always horses. And then I'm pretty sure I drew Gandalf from Lord of the Rings, because for those of you that already follow me or have followed me for a little while, I am Lord of the Rings obsessed. Like, to the point I could watch the whole movie and just recite the script, as annoying as that would be for everybody around me, but I can't help it. Anyway, so I always started off, I would draw, and then I had people in my family that can draw as well, like my granddad and my nan and my dad. From what I remember, I think my granddad actually bought me some watercolor pencils when I was really young, and we used to spend a lot of time up in the Lake District, which, for those of you who aren't in the UK, the Lake District is basically what it sounds. It's just a district in the UK with loads of mountains and loads of lakes. But we spent a lot of time up there when I was growing up, and my granddad would sometimes take me out to like a mountain area and we'd sit and like draw or paint the lake. Or I remember drawing things for my nan and I'd give them to her and she would paint them for me. So art has always been there. It's always been a part of my life, I guess. And when I was really young, the first thing I wanted to be was an artist. When I was in primary school or elementary school for people in the US, I always said, oh yeah, I want to be an artist. And then it kind of changed to, I want to be a vet. And then I want to be, what else did I want to be? I can't remember. And then I decided on doing psychology. So that's why I ended up doing at university. I did psychology, and then I did a master's in behavioral science, which is what I do now. So I work with children with autism. But throughout that journey, I've always come back around to my art, always. And I think it really started for me when I was in university. I think I was maybe 2 or 3 years into university, and I was still, painting and drawing on the side. And I really kind of got it in my head, like, I want to make this a business. I know I can do it. I know that this is the path that I'm supposed to be on. So I just kind of went for it. And I started my Instagram in 2016, I think. And I was just, posting my artwork. And like most people, I kind of thought in the beginning that I could just post and people would be like, oh wow, can you draw my pet for me? And I get all these commissions and bam, I'm a full-time artist. Well, I have another video where I talk all about this, and it doesn't work like that. But that's taken me a long time to understand that, especially when it comes to like being a commissioned artist, it kind of ebbs and flows. So like the last couple of months I had a ton of inquiries and then got no commissions, and then recently I've had like a big influx. And a while ago that would have got really frustrating for me. I would have felt so disheartened. Well, I did feel really disheartened, and I just kind of felt like, well, I'm never going to get there. But now I've learned that it's just the natural flow of things. That's just how it goes. So you got to just keep going with it and move on from it. So back to when I was in university, I didn't really do that many pet portraits. I mostly focused around wildlife, and I have done other mediums in the past. Like I did a lot of like acrylic work, or sometimes with oils when I was in high school. I've tried watercolors. I just can't get the hang of it. So I think I naturally just gravitated towards colored pencil because I like the control that it gives. I haven't always done wildlife. I've done all sorts. I actually did, the first piece of art that I sold was actually a collage, kind of like a drawing and a collage of Paris. So I went to Paris on a trip, and I took a photograph of like the whole view of Paris, and you could see the Eiffel Tower in the distance. So I did a collage of that just because I really enjoyed it. I found it creative. And I sold that on eBay for £5. I think it was £5. I was so excited. I was like, oh, somebody bought my work. And then it kind of went from there. And then I more gravitated towards wildlife and animals. Again, because I don't know why, it's just kind of how it went. And then fast forward, how long is it now? Flipping heck, 8 years. 8 years. I am now living in Canada, and I have what is, I would say, probably like a part-time fairly successful business, working as a pet portrait artist. And I recently just moved into Pacific Arts Market in Vancouver, so my work is in there too, where you like rent a space and there's loads of other artists in there, and they hold events and teaching, which is another thing I would really like to do in the future. So yeah, things are going pretty well. But you know, there's a lot of things that I have learned along the way, and I want to go into a few of those, mostly because I am sure there are other people out there like me, or who are just starting out, or who are feeling that feeling of, oh, maybe it's never going to happen for me, or maybe, you know, this is just, you know, maybe nobody wants my work. So the first thing that I have learned is your mindset. You have to get your mindset right. You have to realize that this is going to take probably way longer than you think it's going to take, but that is okay. Just because it's taking longer, it does not mean that you are failing. It doesn't mean that it's not meant to be, or it doesn't mean that, you know, you're not good enough. It doesn't mean that. You have to just keep going and persist. Sometimes you might need to take a break, and that's absolutely fine, but don't just give up on it because it's not working right now. This has taken me a long time to reach where I'm at, and I'm not at the point that I want to be at yet, right? But for me, art is not something that I thought, oh, I'm just going to make it into a business, and if it doesn't work, then I'll just do something else. For me, art is like a need. I have to do it. I have to draw. I can't not. So for me, it's just a matter of time. I know that I'm never going to give up until I reach the point that I want to get to. And sometimes you have to have that kind of mentality. Obviously, if you change your mind, or, you know, something, you find a different venture, you want to kind of move on something different, and that's like, you know, we all have our own journeys, and that's totally, you know, that's your decision. But for me, I've always come back around to my art, and I got to a point where I felt like I owe it to myself to see where I can take it. So that's what I'm doing. And then the second thing is, obviously, again, I've gone into a video about this, but the commissions. So commission work is not this, it's not what it seems like on social media. It's not this constant influx of commissions, and everybody that reaches out to you is always going to buy from you. It just doesn't work like that. So again, you can go watch my other video on commissions where I go a little further into that. And then the next thing that I want to talk about is that things don't always go the way that you expect them to go. You might have a plan for like 3-4 years down the line, and then it might end up being totally different. You might end up doing, like for example, when I was in university, I thought, oh, I really like doing acrylic painting and painting scenery and painting buildings, and now I'm a commissioned pet portrait artist. Sometimes that's just the way that it goes, and you might need to evolve along with it. I'm in a point now where I feel like I've got a bit of momentum going. Like, I just started a YouTube, I've got a newsletter, I'm kind of on the ball with social media now, or well, to an extent anyway. I've got my art in the market, so I'm in a momentum. But again, it's taken me a long time to do, and I never expected I'd be living in Canada, for one thing, but I never expected that it would be like where it is now, because when I was back in the UK, it was so slow. I would get maybe 1 or 2 commissions like every few months. now like I get booked up. But I never expected it to go that way. I always hoped that it would, but I never expected it to go that way. So sometimes you have to like maybe let go of what you kind of expect it to turn out like, and just kind of go with it. And if opportunities arise for you then, and you feel like it's the right fit for you, then go for it. Take a bit of a chance with it, because you never know. You never know. So yeah, like that's where I'm at the moment, and for the future, my goal is to be full-time and teaching, like teaching colored pencil classes, and hopefully have a YouTube channel where people actually want to watch. So we'll see about that. But yeah, that's my overall journey kind of summed up over the past 8 years. I have actually done a few craft fairs in the past, which I thought that was another thing. So that was another thing that I thought, oh, I'm going to do loads of. I'm going to do loads of craft fairs and, shows. I did 2. The first one was in a place called, what's it called? Bakewell. I had to, the way I remember that is in the UK, we have Bakewell tarts. I don't know if they have them here, but they're like cherry, they're like marzipan little tarts with a cherry on the top. Anyway, I'm digressing. I had one there, and I sold like 1 print, and then I did another one kind of closer to London for a couple of days, and people took my business cards. I sold 1 or 2 pieces, but that was it. And I spent so much money trying to set them up, and it just wasn't, to be honest, I didn't really enjoy it that much. So that's another thing. Like, I expected that I would be doing a lot of fairs, and it ended up like I did 2. So yeah, that's just a little bit of I wanted to give you guys an insight into my journey and a few things that I have learned for you to kind of get to know me as well. And hopefully I can share something that is maybe relatable to somebody, and somebody kind of looks at my journey and goes, oh, okay, well, I'm in a similar situation, or I can relate to that, or, maybe I can do it. And you can. You have to have this belief in yourself. That's the last thing I want to mention, is you have to have this belief in yourself. If you don't believe that you are capable of doing it, you're going to have a really hard time. You have to really put that belief into yourself and know that if you just keep going and keep learning and keep refining your skills as an artist, and just keep yourself focused on where you want to go, where your end goal is, it will start to happen. I promise it will start to happen. So yeah, I hope that this was helpful, and I will see you guys in the next video.